Maybe you're like me, one of those people that just likes to connect on a team. I'm generally seen as the warm one, the connector. I like to be part of teams because I like relationships. I'm driven and motivated by connections. I just like people. It's great to have someone on your team who's seen as the caring one, the one that makes sure people are okay, the one who not only notices that Carl's out of sorts, but also reaches out to say, "Hey Carl, are you doing okay? What can I do for you?" These people are called relators. Whether it's your natural inclination or a role that you take on, the role of the relator is vital to any team. Research tells us that good teams and organizations need both task leadership and socio-emotional leadership. Relators bring that socio-emotional leadership. They are often affiliative, but seldom directive. So how can you recognize a relator? Well, their communication style. They begin by being warm and open. They'll ask about others more readily than they'll tell you about themselves. They'll remember that you have kids, what sports they play, and they may even say, "Hey, how'd the team do last weekend?" When relators get to work, they're the people who stop by several desks and say hello before they get started. They tend to be more comfortable with touch and with eye contact. And relators even have a unique vocabulary. They'll often soften their words with things like maybe or possibly or I think. At parties, they're the ones that notice you don't have a drink and go ahead and get you a new one. They'll hold the door open for somebody and 5 more people will come through and they'll just keep holding the door. Relators are great to have on teams because they bring that connection. They're motivated by being liked and by liking other people. They're motivated by connecting. If you have relators on your team, regardless of their role, give them the chance to make connections and motivate others. They can be valuable cheerleaders for you and for your organization. There are some common challenges associated with being a relator that you should keep an eye out for. Since relators tend to be highly affiliative, but seldom directive, they can sometimes miss key details. They may have finished building that machine, but they have a bolt left over and they have no idea where it goes. Relators can also get caught up in relationships and have a hard time moving forward if they perceive the relationship is in jeopardy. If they made a mistake, they may be afraid of letting you know because they're afraid it might harm your relationship with them and they don't want to bother you. Relators can make great mediators since they're adept at helping others, but relators may not be great at dealing with their own conflicts. Relators need to be aware of and careful not to avoid conflict. They still need to engage people even when it's uncomfortable. And a classic relator challenge is that they can take on more responsibility than they can handle. And as a relator, I used to do this all the time. When Diego and Chloe and Ahmed ask me to do something, I'll say yes. But when it comes time to do it all, relators can be like, "Oh man, how am I going to get this all done?" Relators have an inherent ability to connect and engage people. They're often affiliative and seldom directive. So if you or someone on your team generally fits the relator profile, rely on their natural ability to lead from a democratic perspective, build strong relationships, and derive referent power from the team. Look to your team. Is this role being filled? If not, how can you adapt to fill this need? Get your relators set up for success, and the rest of your team will follow.